Anjol Tanan is a simple man of the land. It is not right that a Ranjan should be serving a common farmer, and they say no one has ever seen a Breen and lived to speak of it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we are doing a review of Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 18, Till Death Do Us Part, written by our buddies David Weddle and Bradley Thompson, directed by Weinrich Colby. This was April 14th, 1999. Where were you? It is a Nog episode, of course. Plenty to talk about there. Melissa Longo is here.
Hi.
Let us get into it. As soon as I said it's a Nog episode, I pictured Nog in the background sniffing the drink that Quark handed him. Did you guys catch that?
That was such a cute moment, but he got so excited when Uncle Quark offered him a glass of champagne.
Yeah. Gave him a sniff. And he kind of like gave him a sniff and a look like, what are you feeding me here? Like he didn't trust it, or it didn't smell good, or there was something going on there. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, you didn't want to get roofied or something.
Well, how you guys doing, man? This is a fun episode.
Yes.
Oh, it's this is a very well. I don't know about fun, but it was a lot of stuff going on.
So much.
I was on an emotional roller coaster. I don't know about fun though. I wasn't having that much fun.
Roller coasters are fun.
It was I mean, as far as it was extremely interesting, and there was so much happening that I was intrigued. But there's so much devious stuff happening in this episode with Ducat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Just all of that play and even like the tension there with Sisko and Cassidy. There was a lot of emotional kind of pulling at the strings for me while I was watching it happen. And those moments were very accurate to me as far as how really, personal conversations can go when you have uncomfortable things to say to somebody and they are forced to make a decision themselves of whether they, how they want to proceed forward. And those kinds of moments are like pivotal in relationships. So I thought they played it out very well in that scene.
Especially when, and I felt the same, which was like, it was surprisingly moving to me, even though I kind of remembered what, the gist of it all, but exactly how it's written and exactly how it's delivered by the actors gives you that extra punch. And when Cassidy says, so what are you going to do? And then Sisko kind of gives her a non-answer. And this is what felt so real. She's like, okay, so what are you going to do? We've all been there before where it's like, we've been on both ends of that, where you're the person that doesn't really want to answer or know how to answer, or you're not really sure and you're skating around the answer. And we've also been the person on the other side saying, hey, get it out. Get it all out.
Yeah, get it all out. Let's get it out.
Yeah, you're not squirming out of this one, buddy.
Yeah. When he says to her, the path that I was meant to walk is for me alone. And I just, I could see her registering the pullback, She was very good. Penny was excellent in this episode because she had a lot of subtle facial expressions that really just played well in the scene. For example, when she had the scarf over her shoulders, the Bajoran scarf, and she was wearing it.
And she drops it.
Yeah, she looks so happy in the beginning of that scene. And she totally doesn't telegraph what's about to happen. So I love the way that she, starts off with that joy and, you know, wearing the scarf. And then you can see she starts playing with the scarf as like you were saying, she drops it lower and as the moment starts to register for her, like she's like, oh, I think I'm not going to like this. Right. You know, that those are the other kind of moments that, you know, it's like when you have something, you're like, we need to talk. And you know that in the tone of them saying that, it's like, uh-oh, something's about to come that I'm not going to like to hear.
And
right?
You know, plus there's also, it seems like in that kind of moment, there's also a little bit of embarrassment where she, in her case, she's holding this thing, she's all swept up in the thing, and she's like, well, hang on, you are not meeting my level of enthusiasm. You're not here. And at that moment, you kind of start to feel like a fool. You're like, well, why am I sitting here holding these flowers or dressing up like this or doing this stuff when you're not at that level? I feel like a fool. You know what I mean? And so there's also like, there's so much there. And just like in the past, a few episodes ago, the two of them, Avery and Penny, do such a good job of keeping it subtle. They don't need to go over the top. We know they're feeling powerful, over the top emotions, so they don't need to act those. They have confidence that the audience and the director can read those emotions based on the conflict and the context. And they just do such an amazing job. And I'm really happy that they're such seasoned actors and seasoned pros, that their performances just work so well.
Yeah. Well, I had an acting teacher who, on-camera acting teacher who said, think it, we'll see it.
Yeah.
So this episode in particular, well, no, all of Deep Space Nine is very good at this. All of the actors are so good at having something going on in their head. They're great listeners. They and they react in ways that are genuine to the moment, rather than, you know, going out there and acting, you know, oh, now I'm going to act like I'm upset, but there's definitely something going on inside their brain. And yeah, that scene there was an excellent example of think it and we'll see it. And Penny Johnson, I agree, was wonderful at doing that too. Running from being so happy, she's so happy and excited about them getting married, and then the shoe
and not
drops.
only that, but she starts the scene saying, you know, this is a Bajoran scarf. Like, she's like, will they like it? Do you think they'll like it? Like, she's trying to be accepted into the Bajoran culture. She knows the weight of being the emissary's wife and what it would entail. It's like if you marry a pastor or somebody, you know, when you marry into that life, you know that there's certain responsibilities that, you know,
judgments, certain
judgments, certain, you know, just the weight is on your shoulder. And so she knows, as, you know, about to marry the emissary, and he's like a religious icon for these people, and I want to join in with the culture. I want to be ingratiated by the people, so I'm going to pay homage by wearing this, you know, cultural scarf. Do you think they'll like it? And it starts at that high, and that real joy that she's feeling of the moment, to, I thought was fantastic performance, was the end close up where she kind of takes the ring off slowly.
Gosh. Yes, I started getting teary eyed. I was like, oh, poor Cassidy. And then she takes off that ring and she puts it on the table and walks out.
And doesn't even look back.
No.
Doesn't even look back. Even look back. She does it with her back to. So it's a great two shot of her kind of standing there like, okay, I guess this is it. She swirls the ring around her finger a few times, and you see Sisko in the background, like not knowing what she's going to say or do next. And she's like, I'm not going to say or do anything. I'm going to drop the ring, not even look back at you. I can't, if I'm not being accepted, then there's no future for us. So it's pretty amazing.
Stoicism can be very powerful. And, you know, she's showing that right now. And it's such a heartbreaking moment for her, which is interesting because we're, you know, clearly we're following this story through the emissary's eyes, through Sisko's eyes. You know, he's the main character. He's the guy that's telling the story. Yet we can still feel so much for Cassidy because, you know, of the script and of the performance and of all the buildup of the story that, you know, we definitely feel it. And it's heartbreaking for her, even if she doesn't throw a fit or scream or cry or argue, or, you know what I mean? Like, that's not necessary. We feel the weight of that scene. We feel the emotion of that character. And I think that's what made the wedding scene surprisingly powerful for me. I was like I don't really care too much about wedding scenes usually. like what's a wet, you know? But the fact that it was so small and intimate, and the look on Penny's eyes, and, you know, the look in Cassidy's eyes, just there was so much there, and it actually moved me. And I don't remember that scene very much, you know, from when I first saw this so many years back. But I really, really felt it and really liked it. And, you know, it's quite the payoff that we got.
Well, what I liked about the wedding scene and the build up to it is that Sisko makes the commitment that he's choosing love.
Yeah.
And he does it with a sense of urgency. It was like, I don't want to hear about it. I think Quark said something about the Tyrellian diamonds, which is another Trek.
Got that. Yeah.
But he says something which I think is great. When he says, "Needless to say, it's non-refundable." You know, so you know, you will be getting the bill for that.
But he did have the line of the episode, right, where he says, "It's a shame to let something so beautiful go to waste," or something like that, right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, and I love it that it's Quark who helps Sisko ultimately make the decision to defy the prophets and marry Cassidy, and it's more powerful because he's seeking advice from the Kai, and he's seeking advice from Kira, who are all supposed to be devout followers of the prophets. So of course he's going to get a certain response, but you get somebody who's completely objective about the situation come in and give you the guidance that you need. I mean, even Jake had, you know, his agenda as far as having his father marry Cassidy, but it's Quark who helps him find this answer. I thought that was awesome.
Well, Quark is clearly the best evaluator of value, whether it's whether it's in an item or in a person. I mean, so you can't help but respect his opinion when it comes to value of something. You know, maybe there's something there, but it was very fitting that Quark got that line. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I thought it was a special moment because there was a sensitivity there. There was a personal moment of friendship. It wasn't about rank or, you know, I have to respect you as captain. It was more like on a personal friendship note. He doesn't, you know, he has nothing to lose at this point. Quark's delivered on his goods, and I'm sure he's getting paid either way. So
right.
He doesn't have to say anything, you know. he could have said, "Hey, let me know if you want to sell that. I'll buy it at half off," or something like to that effect, because since you're not going to use it anyways, he could have had that kind of personal intent to profit even more off something, but instead it was more about taking a moment to reach out to a friend and say, "I understand the pain that you're going through," and you know. What was the line about? It's a shame to see such a beautiful thing go to waste.
He says
something like that.
Seems a shame to let something so beautiful go to waste.
Yeah, and that's beautiful writing by
perfect
David Weddle and Bradley Thompson, because you're talking about not just the ring, obviously you're talking about the woman whose finger the ring goes on. And I love the double entendre there. And there were just a lot of moments that were played so well. I believe that one of the great things about the performances is the subtlety. The Damar and Wei Yun combination, the Ducat Damar, the Ducat Kai.
Yes. It's so gross.
There's so much subtlety there, and it's just like I wasn't the biggest fan of the Ezri Worf story subplot or B storyline, or I guess it's the A story, I'm not sure, but I think it's the B story. They're both kind of mean something. But I thought it kind of carried on too long with the dreams and nightmares. I think they could have got to that quicker if they were going to say something.
Nobody tells Cirroc that the next 2 episodes are all dreams and nightmares.
No, well, with what they were trying to accomplish with that, which is essentially, reveal the Julian kind of thing and have Worf end in his own mind, I think, and put an end to the Dax relationship, because he feels some way like he's been rejected. But speaking of the Dax thing, I did want to say really quickly that I felt the same rejection that Cassidy was feeling when Dax was going through her Klingon, rejection trial process, and she was feeling like they weren't going to accept her. And by the way, that is a common theme in marriages and relationships. It is common that people will get together and somebody's side of the family will not accept somebody for their religion, their race, or they just don't like the person because
their favorite basketball team.
No, but this is a common thing where people have to make a choice about family members saying, this is going to end badly and I'm going to curse your future. And basically what Sisko's faced with, right?
Totally.
It's gonna end bad, and there's so many people that face those kinds of decisions in their own chase for love and quest to find love and be with the person they love, and they have to go through those obstacles in order to make those choices about what they're going to do. Are they going to choose love, or are they going to choose the possibility of what everybody around them is telling them,
right,
is going to be the outcome,
right? Of what other people are going to say about the relationship outside of the relationship, and the complications that aren't complications for the people in the relationship, but more so for the people who are looking into the relationship, adding their own 2 cents and what it should look like and who a person should be with or not be with. And
absolutely. So that's why I think this episode resonates so much, because I think it's a real topic, whether you're dealing with interracial couples or same-sex marriages. There's those there's a lot of people that have to face this kind of, it's not prophets that are coming to them in the visions. It's actually, it's their parents.
It's in-laws.
It's in-laws, it's friends, it's, whoever it is.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it was a prophet and a parent.
Yeah.
Right. Which is symbolic, in its own way, that's how it's being kind of chosen, because they used that as a line. Remember, he said to Cassidy, she was like, well, how do you know something that it's true or something? And I think Sisko says, no, it came from the place of a mother who's concerned about my well-being. Right.
Right.
I wonder if Sisko's like, come on, that's not fair. Don't take the image of my mom. Like, I can't say no to that. Like, why can't it just be like, I don't know, Ducat or Kai Wynn or Vedic Barile or something, to where he's like, I can say no to them. I don't care. But it's his mom. He's like, dude, that's cheating. You can't.
Well, but I do think it was his mom coming to him at that moment, because she was a concerned mother, because she knows what has to go down in the future. But personally, knowing what happens, I don't see why that would stop them from, Cassidy and Sisko, from sharing their love with each other, because no matter how long or short a time they have together, it's worth that pursuit, because they care so much about each other. I know.
Yeah, and that's also where it kind of I have a small issue. So is it the actual ceremony of marriage that the prophets have? The prophets have a problem with, because she's been walking around with an engagement ring for I don't know how long or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, and they've been together for a while, so. If it was the fact that they were intimate or a couple or involved, then wouldn't they have come to him a lot earlier and say, hey, no, you need to be a devout, we need you to be celibate or something,
Yeah.
Well, and marriage seems like such a formality. I mean, it's really just a formality. You don't need to have the actual ceremony to solidify and commit a relationship to somebody else.
That's right. If they could have come to them on day one and just said, if you guys get involved, much pain I see in your future. Yeah. No touching, but instead they wait and they wait and they wait until, so maybe there's something. We do have to jump to our break real quick, but there's more to this. I agree. There's definitely more to this. We're going to take our break real quick, and we'll be right back on the seventh rule. All right, we are back on the seventh rule with Cirroc, Lofton, and Melissa Longo.
Hello.
Here are the trivioids for this week, and then we're going to get right back into bashing those prophets and those guys. They got it coming.
Yeah.
Everything Sisko does is the prophet's business. Cassidy is on a cargo run and won't be back for a couple days. Algae paste is Ezri's favorite, or is it? They say no one has ever seen a Breen and lived to speak of it. Ezri has a dream that the Breen were chasing her in a cold cave, but they had claws. Angel Tenon Tanan is a simple man of the land. It is not right that a Ranjan should be serving a common farmer. Kai Wynn was going to share a rare vintage spring wine with the emissary, and Tyrellian diamonds aren't that easy to come by. All right. So just to close the door on that prophet speak, it is true that like you're saying, they've been dating for so long. Why now? Why making it official or, merging their taxes? Why is that the line that they can't cross? They're like, okay, that's too far, man. Is she taking your last name? Okay. Yeah. Now
she can't be
doom and gloom.
No.
Yeah, but being in the century that they're in, would she take his last name anyway?
I don't think so. She seems like she wouldn't. She's like, no, I'm Cassidy Yates.
Right.
Cassidy Danielle Yates, we found
Yes.
out today. I don't think we ever heard the Danielle before today, but we got to hear the Lafayette again, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that bothers me, just the timeline of it, because I don't see why the ceremony of the marriage itself would would make any difference. They're already living together and all of these kinds of things. So I don't see what that one extra step makes a big deal. But it was well written. They've been, setting us up for so many curveballs. I just love Damar and Wei Yun. They can have their own, like, they should have had their own episode,
their own odd couple series.
Just
and
the whole episode.
By the way, the cutest couple. I mean, look, Sisko and Cassidy, they're very cute. Yeah, they're great. We love them. However, everybody knows that Ducat and Damar are the cutest when they're like, they were hugging. They're like, oh, I was like, I never knew they were so cute. And they're like, we could have taken on, or what they say, we took on the entire Klingon Empire with one ship. I'm like, I don't remember that, but
well, I got a little something different from it because one, Casey is incredible in this episode. He's just incredible across the board.
But in this episode, it's super exceptional.
Yep.
Yeah. No, he's such a broken man. He's such he's been alienated by the Dominion, which got dumped on him by Ducat. He's been abandoned by his mentor, and betrayed by his mentor, and
he killed Zial. He killed
this too, but that was more.
And they're friends again.
That was more true to his character before because he was trying to save Ducat and who he knew Ducat to be. So,
but he's always had like this looking up to Ducat, where he plays that so well. He plays like he thinks he's a little better than him. Like, I'm better than you, and I could be better than you if I was given the chance. But now that he has the chance, you see that he still has reverence for Ducat.
It's almost like that is his other weakness besides alcoholism is his reverence, as you say, for Ducat. Like, he's got a permanent soft spot there.
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, I think Damar turned more to alcohol abuse because he's existing in this dark purgatory in his homeland where he doesn't know what's going on. He's supposed to be the Cardassian leader, but he's just a figurehead at this point.
And he's stuck in a ship that's too cold, damn it.
Well, they're on Cardassia, right?
And he doesn't have the same ability like Ducat had to get his way on whatever he wants. Well, he's usually doesn't get his way.
Yeah, Ducat, I called him a big dick because
okay.
Because he what an asshole. He goes,
well, which one is he? Melissa, make up your mind. Those are two different apparatuses.
He's both for different reasons.
Is it apparatusi?
I don't know.
It would be apparatusi. Sorry, go on.
He's some kind of entrance or exit hole. But yes, go ahead. What were you saying?
Wormhole.
Well, he has the potential. No, he has screwed everyone over and shit on them all at the same time. So,
Melissa, you are turning this into a filthy show.
Sorry. But I was just, when he was like, what happened to the man that I once knew? La 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 la. And then I'm like, you did. You are the one who made everything bad for everyone and then just left everyone to clean up your mess that you created.
Melissa, you fail to see how beautiful this coupling between Damar and Ducat truly is.
Yeah.
The scene with there's several scenes, but when Ducat looks Damar in the eye at that kind of handshake moment, but he tells him, you can be head of Cardassia again to Ducat, and Ducat looks at him and he kind of gives him like, I'm done with that. That was a big moment for me. I felt that Ducat was sincere about the fact that he doesn't want that anymore. He doesn't want to be the head of Cardassia anymore. He wants something else. Clearly, that's what I felt.
Yeah.
Because he was passing the torch. I wrote looked like he was passing the torch to Damar. Like, you go and get it.
Yeah.
And
Damar maybe feels unworthy.
Yeah. But he was giving it up. He was passing the torch. It was an official, like, this is your time now. I've had my run, and I'm on to something else.
Yeah.
But I do think that the reverence that he has for him was called out so well by Wei Yun when he walks over and he says, you didn't think I knew about Ducat, You're going to see Ducat, and you can see Damar's like, and he says, such loyalty,
He gets
it would be impressive if it wasn't so misplaced. the greatest line. I was like, this is such a great line. Your loyalty would impress me if you had it for me.
Yeah.
And that's what Wei Yun is saying to him. But he's so condescending and so good at just saying, basically, my child. He does his own version of my child.
Yes.
Speaking of which, the great Louise Fletcher.
Yes.
As soon as I saw her, I thought about how wonderful she was as an actress on this show.
Unbelievable.
May she rest in peace. But as soon as she came on camera, and I had a special kind of feeling about the contribution she made to the show and the legacy that she left behind, regardless whether you like her or not. As her character, not as an actress, she's a fantastic actress. That's what I'm saying. And she performed this character flawlessly.
Yes.
This Kai character was performed flawlessly by Louise Fletcher, and definitely want to give her kudos for her performance in this and throughout the show.
What helped me realize that actually, Cirroc, was when you first saw her a couple years ago, and you were just like so passionate and vehement, like this Kai Wynn. Oh, she really. And I had forgotten, because when you watch it 20 years ago, you kind of get desensitized to it. We know what Kai Wynn is, we know what Ducat is, but hearing you react to her for the first time, I was like, God, he is right. She is so freaking good. Like, you kind of take it for granted when you've seen this a bunch of times over the course of 25 years, but you helped to remind me how incredible she is. And the world lost, in the Alpha and Gamma Quadrant lost an incredible actress and performer just recently. And really, I felt the same way when she came on screen. It kind of hit me. I was like, oh, damn. She was one of the greats.
One of the greats. And again, some of the things that made her so wonderful was that while, you hate Kai Wynn, her performances are so layered. Talk about peeling the onion for her character. She's definitely got diversity in her performance, in that you can see the hurt that in her face, that the prophets don't come and speak to her like they do for Sisko. And I don't know, I noticed a lot of different things in her performance this time than I think I have in the past. And maybe it's because of the recent loss of her, Louise Fletcher. But gosh, that scene was incredible between the two of them because there was so much in it. There's a stiffness, but yet Sisko's opening up to her in a way that he hasn't before. And it's it was really interesting to watch. And I spent 20 minutes on that first episode just writing notes because it was just so good. It's rich with
and one of the things that I think makes it so special, Louise Fletcher, Mark Alimo as Ducat, Casey Biggs here. The thing that is so special, Wei-Yun, what makes it amazing to me is these characters are so conscious and worried about how they are perceived. So Ducat wants to be perceived a certain way. I am doing you a favor and I'm always so generous and I'm this. So he wants to be perceived like he's, the great guy. Kai,
a god.
Yeah.
And that's why he's turning to the Pah-wraiths. They have far more power than any of these but mortals.
his perception, how they're perceived is really one of the things that makes their performance so great to me, because they're really a certain way, but they want to be perceived this way. Kai Wynn is another example of that. Like, she's really cutthroat and manipulative, but she wants to be perceived as very gracious,
as above it all too. But she's totally not above anything. She'll go down and dirty.
Right. She'll bomb something. She doesn't care. So, but she's so above it all, and so it's almost like a public persona versus the private persona that we actually know who they are. And so the public persona that they walk around saying, "Oh, I'm the," I forgot the Kai Wynn's title. Actually, they call her the ascent.
It was the Kai, right? Was there more to
it? But no, somebody referred to her not like the emissary, but they called her something like that in
Your Eminence or something. Maybe.
Eminence, I think. Yeah. But yes, there's that public persona versus who we actually know them to be. So I really love the layered context to how their performances are. The founder that was in this episode,
yes,
she had a great line too about Damar. She's like, I find him most trying.
Yes. Love it.
Oh my gosh. She's another one I find most trying too.
Yes.
I would love to see Kai Wynn meet the female changeling and just have them my child each other to death.
Belittle each other.
Who's bougier?
Bougier.
I'm more bougie than you, my child.
That would be juicy.
Yeah.
I'm finding you most trying.
So then the more you guys are talking about this, the more it's making me realize just, Deep Space Nine is about family to me. It's about family and the inward experience and adventuring inward and learning more about oneself. But I feel like these last few episodes and these segments are really strongly and deeply about relationships. And that's what really gets us going is Ducat and Damar, right? Ducat and Wei-Yun, Damar and Wei-Yun, Wei-Yun and the female changeling, Wei-Yun and Odo and Quark, right? Sisko and Kai Wynn and Kira, Sisko and Cassidy, Sisko and Jake and Nog. Like, it's all, you mention any of those two, any of those couples, and you immediately get a feeling of what that dynamic is. And they're all totally different. Every one of those things I just named have completely different but very interesting and entertaining dynamics. You know what I mean? And I think it's great.
I think Deep Space Nine kind of started out that way with starting to build strong relationships from the get-go.
That's right.
And
Quark and Odo. Julian and Garrick.
O'Brien. And yeah, just whatever pairing that you have, each pairing has a different dynamic from another pairing, which is wonderful to watch and so wonderful to absorb, because that's life. You know, we all react differently to each other, and our relationships are unique to each other, and which is wonderful and juicy to see on screen. Which is, I wrote down in my notes while watching this, the people who poo-poo this show aren't paying attention. They're not really paying attention, because there's so much good stuff, and there's so broke, much
they
detail.
Can't even pay attention.
But this is one of the things that I really like about this show as well, as far as those kind of intertwining relationships, is that every character has a kryptonite character. Right. They have an opposite character.
Good point.
that humbles them or changes their persona. So even though Kai is how she is, when Sisko's around, she shows some humility to him. She
diminishes a bit. Yeah.
She diminishes just a bit. She bows down to him because, Your Eminence, you know, you're the emissary and you've been chosen. So she does. There's a kryptonite effect to Sisko and Kai. There's that same effect, for example, for Dukat with Kira. Kira knows how to neutralize Dukat, and there's nothing he can say that. Every time he thinks he's got something slick, she slaps it down and just humbles him.
Same with
Damar
Dukat.
Damar and Weyoun and the Founder.
Right.
Quark and Odo.
They're all varying levels, but but Dukat knows how to neutralize Damar almost immediately and every single time.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what he does, Dukat will always be up here for Damar.
There's always a kryptonite character. Even Odo, who's the hardest kind of Man of Steel.
That would be Kira.
Kira.
Yeah.
Like, she's got the kryptonite formula. And who else had it was Majel Roddenberry. She used to make
in a different way.
In a different way.
She softened him a bit, yeah.
But that was the kryptonite to his comfort zone for sure. He definitely was super uncomfortable around her. So as far as his comfort level, she was the kryptonite for it. Yeah. But yeah, there's so many. That's what's so great is there's these. I mean, Joseph Sisko does that for Sisko.
Yeah, he does that for all of us.
Right. And so does Cassidy in some way. She softens Sisko up. You know,
But so does Jake.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many very good relationships here. But I wanted to say really quickly, because I thought that Mark Alaimo delivered an amazing scene with Kai Wynn when he comes as Kurt
Angle. No, I'm just kidding. That's a wrestler.
Angel.
Anjo.
It's
Joel.
What was his name? Angel Tanan.
So
which almost
like an
sounds
angel.
like Angel, yeah.
Okay, so he's an angel essentially.
Basically.
Angel. But when he says, "I'm a simple man of the land,"
oh my gosh!
And then when this is what makes me say he's such a great actor.
Yeah. When
he pretends to be just a simple, humble farmer as he's going to the dinner table, and he says, "Oh, well, you know, I don't deserve to be waited on. Like, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm beneath that, you know." Here's a guy who literally will kill you if you don't bring him his his thing when he tells you to bring it.
And has committed countless atrocities
Yeah.
to these exact people.
Yes.
That he is pretending to be like, oh, the Cardassians were terrible, but thank you for saving me.
Yes. So this guy who can order the death of anybody whimsically is now pretending that he's just such a fragile, humble guy that doesn't even deserve to sit at the table. And I'll go serve the food for you. I can go get it and bring it, and be of service. I thought that was a super great performance by Marc Alaimo as far as just showing us his dynamic ability to play so many different levels of a character. And then he looks at her and says to Kai regarding Sisko, he is not one of us.
Ooh.
I know.
I was like, my mind is exploding.
Yeah.
My brain. I was like, this guy is, and he's not one of us. So I thought, oh my God, this guy's so good. He got me so pissed with that line that I literally wanted to reach to the TV and strangle him for just being so maniacal.
Yeah,
well, and I was thinking, well, this is exactly how cults start, because he knew exactly which catchphrases to say, which buzzwords to play upon to get the reaction that he knew he could get out of Kai Wynn. And she ate it up because she's just so thirsty.
She's thirsty. Yep.
She's just so thirsty to be adored by.
Yeah,
everyone.
When she said Adami.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Adami, exactly.
I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Adami Baum. But one extra thing about Ducat's performance, to me, Marc Alaimo's performance, but that's exactly the point, is it didn't feel like I was watching Marc Alaimo play a Bajoran. It felt like I was watching Marc Alaimo playing Gul Dukat playing a Bajoran. It felt like I was watching Gul Dukat's performance, which just adds such another great layer to Marc Alaimo's acting prowess. And it's just wonderful because you're watching Gul Dukat showing his acting skills, basically.
And he does it so well that you're not really clear of what his intentions are. Like, it is.
He just wants to kiss a dummy.
You guys know what's going to happen next. I don't know what's going to happen next, so I don't know what's happening after this. So I don't know. I just by watching his performance, I can't tell you what his plans are. Like, it's very vague to me. Because I just don't know. He was infested with the spirit, so I say he does have some kind of connection to the Pa Wraiths or whatever. So he has knowledge there. I don't know if he's, so I just know that he's innately a bad person. So I'm expecting a bad result.
He's just misunderstood, Cirroc, and you know it.
Sure.
And one thing I wanted to ask you,
to a certain degree, he is.
Very much I wanted to ask you, and I really want to get your reaction. We only have a couple minutes left. When Gul Dukat, Angel, Kissy Face or whatever his name is, when Gul Dukat and Kai Wynn finally come together in that beautiful moment and make that beautiful kiss together, how did you feel were you shocked by it? Were you reviled? Did you think it was beautiful and romantic? How did you feel?
Oh, I just thought, first of all, I thought two of the most opportunistic, self-indulged people are hooking up. It was just like, I can't believe this. I couldn't believe it, actually. I was super surprised by it because he was able to get in rather quickly into her defenses or let her guard down. And At some point, like she was leaving, like we'll be okay. You can leave us alone. I'm like, the guy you just met, this farmer dude yesterday, and you're like, you're being left alone in the bedroom or something. I'm like, this doesn't really.
They're a little drunk off that wine,
Well, and then the Pares did send her that vision that she thought was from the prophets, and he said the same exact words that they said to her. So
it's hot.
And again, she's thirsty.
Yeah, this is definitely the hottest romance in Deep Space Nine. It gets even steamier, Cirroc. You just wait. People talk about this decades later as the steamiest romance in Star Trek history. We do have to move on to the free for all, and they will agree. You watch. You don't believe me, but they will all agree that the steamiest romance. I had to wipe my screen. It was so steamy.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
But we do want to give a very special thanks to Homer Frizzell, Dr. Marie Segal, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackmon-Tom, Carmen, aka Skillet, TJ. Oh, sorry, I was going to say TJ Baum. I get very confused easily. TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Timothy Baum, Bill Victor Arucan, Titus Mohler, Darlena Marie, John Mann, Dr. Mohamed Noor, Tierney C. Dieckmann, Anna Post, Rex A. Wood, Anil O. Polat, excuse me, Erika Stroem, Joe Balsarotti, Mike Gu, Dequeue, Neal Akasaka, Justine Norton-Kertson. You almost got something there. I was listening in. Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, Edward Foltz, Radek Orszewski out in Southwest Poland, Henry Unger, live from Tokyo out in Kansas. Woo-hoo. And of course, Dr. Susan V. Gruner. Thank you all very much. Stick around. We've got the free for all next, and we'll be right back on the seventh rule. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the seventh rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
We are joined still by Melissa Longo. She has not left.
Nope.
And we are joined now by Goldu Scott Jensen. We've got Carrie Schwent wearing a radical Lord of the Rings shirt. We have Susan V. Gruner. She's a doctor, everybody knows. Eve England is out in Wales without the H. TJ Jackson-Bey in Missouri with his Star Trek The Cruise shirt. We've got live from Tokyo, I bet. Grandpa One is here. He is our favorite guy because he always talks about soccer and makes us laugh about good things. Faith Howell is here floating out in Deep Space Nine. She is the politest person, and I don't think politest is a word. I think it's most polite. Fact check me on that, though. Eve England pursed her lips. That means yes.
Politest?
Right? Politest? That's not a word, is it?
Sounds like a poltergeist.
It's poltergeist.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry.
Politergeist.
Faith and the poltergeist. All right. So we got a lot more to talk about. There's so much going on in this episode. Carrie Schwent, would you like to kick us off today?
Sure. And I'll kick off with the haiku, and then I'll get to a couple questions and a nitpick. But as far as the haiku goes, algae paste is gross. Tywin receives a vision. Sisko gets married. And took advantage of my brand new tablet to put up this picture behind me is when my husband and I got married in Vegas.
Aww.
It was 112 degrees outside that day, but I made him wear a suit. But he puts up with me. Bless him. And that the nitpick that I have here is Grumpy Bear. Oop, he's disappearing there. Where is it? Oh yeah. Now I know Cassidy was in a hurry because Sisko was pulling her out of the room, but she was loading her cargo. Did she tell her crewmates that she was leaving, like by getting married? Now she just took off and left them. I bet they turned around coming out of the shuttle, like, okay, where'd she go? I mean, I would have told them, I know you're excited, but let somebody know when you're leaving so they don't wonder where you're at.
Oh.
And the little statue figurine that Sisko has on his like coffee table next to the couch, it kind of looks like a mother and child sort of wooden figure. I've got one that's a very kind of similar to it that used to be my mom's, that I picked up from her stuff when she passed in 2018. So seeing that figurine it's very sweet. Brought some nice memories. And the question that I have is, do we know if Ducat and Kai Wynn had ever actually met, or had she ever heard his voice? Is anybody who has ever heard that voice, I don't care what face they're wearing, you're gonna recognize him.
Had they met, you guys?
Part of me wonders if they ever met.
Oh,
maybe on the battlefield.
I don't know about that, but I would imagine that he would be aware of who she was. But I don't know if they would meet. She would be aware of who he was. They would be aware of each other.
She mentioned that she was aware of who he was because she mentioned Ducat. Would that be a Nam?
I was thinking that as well.
Would that be a Nam because he's not Ducat at the moment?
When did she meet?
He is.
When did she mention Ducat?
When
acting as if he's someone else.
He's Angel.
Yeah, no, but when she saved Angel's group from being slaughtered, Ducat ordered the slaughter of these people, and
that
then
rascally Ducat.
Yeah, and she rerouted she paid somebody off to reroute.
Where's Homer when you need him? I say no way is that a Nam.
I know.
He's there.
He's there.
I'll be the Homer to squash that one. That's not a
We actually do have a lot of Nams to go over real quick, but before we do that, Carrie, did you still have more for us? Well, I didn't want to cut you off there.
A little bit. I enjoyed the entire episode was fantastic, and of course, weddings get me all fuzzy. You see a lot of them on soap operas, as I brought up before. And Sarah, the prophet mom, pulls up a very soap opera-y right in the middle of him trying to put the ring on. Oh wait, I'm gonna interrupt you for a minute. Are you really sure you want to do this? I mean, so very soap opera-like. And of course, and Grandpa One, I'm sure you can relate to this, but anybody who's ever passed out from drinking knows what that feeling is like when somebody wakes you up the next morning and he sits up and his hair is all messy.
Yeah, he looked right for that role.
With the clanging of the bottles too, they really hammered it home. Yeah, and
the attitude, like he had the attitude. He had the full don't wake me up attitude. Like, what the hell are you doing here?
I love you would enjoy waking him up just a little too much. Yeah, I enjoyed
must have been rancid.
Flashing.
Oh, ew.
So a couple quick names. Chancellor Moga, but I don't know if we've ever seen him, so I don't know what we're going to do with that one. Jadzia was mentioned 1,000 times. TJ says no to the Chancellor. Garrick was a Nam as well. Yeah. Alexander was quite the Nam. It wasn't a non-appearance mention, it was a non-appearance yell. He just yelled his name out. Joran was mentioned by Esri. Now, she didn't mention her younger brother. She just spoke to him. TJ?
Right.
Nope, I agree. All right, that was a stern no. All right. He's like,
there's a few others that I got.
No. What else we got?
Martok in there as well.
We
got Martok.
Oh,
we got Vedic Talon or whoever he is.
Yeah.
Who's Kill Big? I wrote it down. It's the name. I
wrote that. Who was that? It was like, where was that?
It's the guy with the clear head, isn't it?
Kilby. No, that's that's Baudet.
Baudet.
Kilby. I don't know who Kilby was. It might be somebody.
And Brainar. Who's Brainar? I have Garrick with a question mark because I wasn't sure if it was a Nam or not. But
yeah, we never saw them though.
TJ's gonna get whiplash from all his head shakes at those, I think. All right. They are all recorded. Kilby, I do want to know if we know who that is. Eve England out in Wales. Oh, she's shaking her head and pursing her lips too, teaching us a lesson. What have you got for us today?
This is just so good, and there's just so much going on, and I had to watch it twice actually, just to make sure that I sort of got all the sort of different strands that were coming together.
You wanted to watch Ducat and Kai Wynn making out.
Ew.
It was really, the companion talks about the fact that they wanted to put those guys together for such a long time, and then I think Ira apparently just said, "Oh, wouldn't it be great?" And then they say, "Oh yeah, why don't we just do it?" And that's where they had to kind of build it in terms of him, obviously turning into a Bajoran and everything. But they've been wanting to do that because they think it's obviously the most twisted relationship of all time. It's just so fascinating. I mean, I think it's the first time though that I actually feel sorry for Kai Wynn, because you can just see her being totally manipulated, but at the same time you don't quite feel sorry for her, because you know that the only reason she has been duped into this is because she has these pretenses of grandeur, because she desperately wants to see and speak to the prophets, and she doesn't even stop to think, are these the actual prophets? And she just sort of goes off on how important she is and reading the signs. And I think, and I don't know whether anyone else noticed this, and I don't know whether this was something they did deliberately, but when they had the prophet scene, or the Pareth scene, they shot that quite differently. So all of the people speaking to her were sort of high above her. They weren't sort of walking, normally they just walk around Sisko.
Oh, yeah.
And I wondered whether that was why they did that, so that they were all very stern. They were kind of dictating things to her, and it to me had a different feel to it than some of the others. But I need to go back and see what the other ones were like. But it was definitely different to the Sisko one later on with Sarah. So I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, I just thought it was really cool with the scene with Damar and Ducat, and because again, the situation with Damar is just really interesting. How we see him as this drunk, and obviously we know where it kind of goes, but that conversation with Ducat really kind of it is quite instrumental for where he then goes over the next few episodes from Damar's perspective. So I thought that was just really interesting, how we sort of see him in this absolutely desperate state, because he just obviously hates what he's doing and hates Wayoon and everything about the Dominion. And I just loved how they portray him, and then what we see over the next few episodes is just really interesting. So I thought this episode was just fantastic to bring all of that together, and the sense of foreboding of what's to come. I was just like, I just desperately want to watch the next one, but I did stop myself.
You're on mute, Ryan.
Why do I keep doing that? I was going to say, as soon as we're done recording, you can watch the next one as many times as you'd like. Good stuff, Eve. TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri. He's healing from his neck injuries. What's up, dude?
Oh, yeah. About that. How's it going? Man, this episode was great from beginning to end. And I began picking up on stuff like even right at the beginning in the opening scene in the teaser with Sisko and Jake in the office. That was a pretty good scene, pretty good Jake scene, and towards the end of it, when Jake's just kind of laying into him, Sisko says, "You're not making me feel much better about this."
Yeah. And the next we didn't cover that.
The next thing he gets is like, "Hey, Kai Wynn is here."
Yeah. Yeah.
And also like a thing that most dramas and Star Trek also is good at is like kind of weaving a theme throughout an episode to where there are different things happening in the ABC story that kind of have like sometimes a similar scene, or similar theme. And in this one, it was like kind of this marriage type thing. So you got the Sisko and Cassidy deal going on, and then you got Worf and Ezri.
Yep. And Kai Wynn and Gul Dukat, super steamy
fight. But you also have this. What we find out at the end is the Dominion and the Breen are also kind of having a coming together. So and that was the one that
Brilliant.
that like I already had the other two, and like when I saw that, the scene of them getting together, I'm like, oh, that's part of the thing too. So that was pretty good and excellent writing, of course. One thing about the one of the scenes with Ezri and Worf is, when Worf, we see that he's kind of gotten into his head that, hey, we can be together again, and he like actually says it out loud. Ezri like stuffs her mouth with with algae paste. He's like, I don't know. I think that's not what I had in mind. That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Also, big kudos to Mark Limo and Louise Fletcher for the scenes they had together. Mark, we're watching him play not just Angel, but he's Ducat as Angel, and so that's really a super layered role to play, and I think he pulls it off really well. And of course, Louise Fletcher is the gem that she is. And the reason why we have such strong feelings about these characters is because of how well they were played. And so watching, these scenes and the layers of manipulation that we've seen building for, season after season, like we heard, in the episode with the Jake Wraith, that the prophets had never spoken to Kai Wynn, and we knew she had some strong feelings about it, so strong that she was willing to, in that episode, go against the prophets. But you kind of forget about that, this far ahead, and now, we see, the groundwork being laid for something else. I wonder what's gonna happen.
Ooh, me too.
And I didn't look up, and I don't know right off the top of my head who plays Solbor, but the looks that he gives, priceless. Priceless. When he comes to her quarters in the middle of the night, and Kai Wynn dismisses him, the look on his face is priceless.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on.
He's like,
he does not approve of it at all.
He does not approve.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. He plays that moment really well.
Really well.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll see that again. Hint, hint.
Well, good stuff, TJ. Brilliant. I love the marriage of the Breen and the Dominion there. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right. My live from Tokyo. Wow, you are quick on that unmute. Your thoughts?
This episode for me, it seemed like it was about emotions. I think, Ryan, you talked last week, maybe the week before, about how how an actor, one of the things an actor tries to do is elicit an emotion or make an audience feel a certain way as one of their main goals. And I was thinking about that as I watched this episode, because each of the characters in the episode is telling a story from not so much the story, but how they feel about it. I thought they're trying to get some sort of emotion from us. Worf being upset about Ezri, liking Julian, Cassidy showing sadness at no marriage, and then joy when she finds out she's going to get married, et cetera, et cetera. There were a lot of examples, but I thought two key examples. That was Avery Brooks is trying to elicit our sympathy at his pain. He's having to deal with the responsibilities as the emissary, and that was really weighing on him a lot. And the way he played it, he really made us feel what he was feeling in that. I thought that was particularly poignant. And then also eliciting our sympathy or possibly support for wanting a marriage to the woman that he loves and that he chooses. But he's struggling with that decision. And I thought that was, again, a very, very well played bit there. Instead of just blindly following what the prophets say, taking his head on the shoulder scene, he really let us feel what he was feeling throughout that. Love that. And then the other one that I thought was really strong and well played in this was Damar. His feelings of self-loathing, his feelings of disappointment, his feelings of lack of direction or lack of control, I thought were really powerfully played. And waking up drunk and the bottlenecks, yeah, but he conveyed a lot of emotion, I thought. And again, each character was trying to do that. And then finally, at the end of the episode, Wei Yun, when he's delivering that last line, when he says, "You should be honored. You're witnessing an historic moment, the birth of the alliance between the Dominion and the Breen." And then he adds a very, we saw Shran 2 years early. He says, "Changes everything, doesn't it?" And that was just 100% Shran delivery, I thought. So anyway, I loved it. Great episode as a continuation, full of a lot of emotion this time, I thought.
Wow, a little Shran teaser. Hadn't thought of that. I did watch that performance like 3 times over, just that little last 10 seconds, because he looks at Ezri when he says it, but then he glances back up at Worf. And I feel like that last little glance back up at Worf was meant for the audience, like doesn't it kind of thing. But it's just a really nice final 10 seconds.
Fantastic.
Dr. Susan V. Gruner, did you love this episode? Did you 10 it like David?
Yes. The 10. It's great for all the reasons that everybody has discussed so far. It's really great in the way it's tying things up. We can see the beginning of, we know there's only 7 seasons of the show, but I just love the way every little detail, every relationship is getting tied up like in a neat little box, kind of. I loved Louise Fletcher. I was talking with Eve, was it yesterday? I watched it twice in a row. And my curiosity was killing me. I wanted to know, how old was she when she played that part? She was younger than me. She was 65 the day that she played that, for that episode, that role. And I thought she was wonderful. Made me feel kind of old, thinking she was 65 then? She was younger than me, but the acting was stupendous. Mark Alemo, unbelievable. Like, I think it was TJ, the layers that he had to play, just everything. It's just a perfect episode. This is perfect reason why Deep Space Nine is so great. This episode's like this.
The question...
I did have a nitpick though.
Oh, let's hear it.
Are you ready for this? Is a total Sue nitpick. What the heck was going on with that wedding dress? It was so wrinkled. I was yelling at the television, "Get an iron!" That's it.
Even noticed that. I was like,
it drove me nuts.
Well, they did get married at the last minute, so
it's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next? Faith Howell floating outside Deep Space Nine without a helmet. How do you feel about this episode?
So I literally just paused it as the episode ended. So I have been all over the place trying to make sure that I know where the episode stopped, so I don't go too far into the future. But I did want to comment on Damar. Of course, he's my favorite. Sorry for my son yelling in the background. Yeah, he's my ultimate favorite. I'm so excited every time he's on screen. And I love the transition you see in this episode where at the beginning you can tell he hates himself so much. He literally cannot even look at himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
He's got to turn himself around to take that drink. And, but also looking damn sexy if it's okay if I say that while he's got his bedhead and everything going on.
Just speaking the truth.
And then, Ducat comes in and, says, "Hey, dude, this is not my friend that I know." And by the end of the episode, he's coming into Wei Yun. I demand to know where we're going. So I love this little bit of a turning point. And then just to look back in time at how Damar started as kind of, I mean, Ducat's right-hand man, but kind of like just a lackey henchman, probably throwaway character at first. And now he's come even just this far, not even thinking about the rest of the season. And so I'm just so excited to see all this next few episodes again. I also did want to put a little shout out for Quark and how that man is always up for a party, and how quickly when they were on again, off again, sorry, thanks for the ring, but no, we're not gonna. And man, I'm really depressed about it. And he's batting for the, you know, the stadium seats way up in the back. Come on, you know, we got to do this. You know, this is a rare situation. And, you know, and then the next scene, he's got all the stuff together for a wedding ready, and let's go. So
And he
I love
doesn't
that.
spill any champagne.
Right.
Mhm.
Not in that take.
No, he had a great line when somebody says, "Yeah, I just found out 20 minutes ago," and he's like, "Yeah, me too, and I'm the caterer."
Yeah.
I can't work under these conditions.
Yeah, I was like, "That's a great line."
Mhm. Great stuff, Faith. Grandpa One is also here, hanging out, stroking his beard, getting ready to drop some wisdom bombs on us.
No, I honestly, I thought Morn was my spirit alien, but I guess it's Damar. No, I really did, maybe I really didn't like the character because of Zial. Was it last season or how many? Two anyway? Maybe two. But you can tell he just hates being alive, and he deals with it by drinking. No spoilers, but I can kind of identify with that. I don't have a lot more to add, except for I laughed out loud when Ezri and Worf, she comes back from being tortured and she was like, "Kiss me." He's like, he starts to lean in and she goes, "Yeah. Julian." And he's like, "Whoa." I think that was my favorite scene of the whole episode. It was like, but it did a good job. Overall, I'd say it's a solid episode. It's not one of my favorites, but it's setting up for what we're about to see in the last few episodes. Rewatching this again, I had a different opinion with Damar. And we'll see where it goes. Of course, we all know where it goes, but no spoilers. We'll see where it goes.
So what Tim is trying to say is that Faith and Eve are going to duke it out. Faith is going to take the Damar side. Eve is going to take the Ducat side, and they're going to duke it out for who is the better character. And Tim is going to be the referee. But that's all the time we have for this week, everybody. Also, Melissa Longo has Aaron Eisenberg's script of this actual episode. We're out of time. She can hold it up. Go check it out on our social media accounts. We'll be tweeting it and posting it. She's already got it posted in our group and in our Discord.
No, not this one, but
oh well, she will. By the time this is out,
but
I sure hope.
And his copy.
Hey, really quickly, I just want to add really fast that I thought Cassidy looked amazing in that green velour velvet type of jumpsuit. I was like, that thing looks great on her. So. Well done.
And if anybody knows jumpsuits, it's Cirroc.
Yeah, I like her in her flight suits. Dude,
all right. So thank you all for joining us. Sue, Mai, TJ, Eve, Carrie, Faith, and Tim. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon. And everybody at home, we appreciate you too. For myself, Cirroc, Melissa, and Aaron. We'll see you next time. And until then, always remember the 7th rule.